Hi, my name is Mia Facey. I have decided to do my project on the Marburg virus, so let's begin. So first up, we have an outline. I will first begin by talking about the background of the Marburg virus, and that includes its viral genome and its family, also how it infects cells in humans. Next, I will move on to the presentation and symptoms in humans that are infected with Marburg and the mortality. Then we will move on to the natural reservoir, as well as how it is transmitted from people to people and from animals to people. And lastly, we will talk about the treatment for Marburg. So up first is the background. So first we're going to talk about the viral genome. Marburg virus is a negative sense single-stranded RNA molecule which is part of the Filoviridae family. This also includes the 5 strains of Ebola. Philo of Filoviridae means thread, referring to the long thread-like appearance of its members. There are 2 different variants of Marburg virus, the Lake Victoria and the Raven, but clinically they are the same and we treat them as the same thing. The disease caused by Marburg is Marburg hemorrhagic fever, and we will go over symptoms later on in this presentation. So the Marburg virus spreads within the human body by being picked up by macrophages and dendritic cells through phagocytosis, where the virus will then unravel its viral RNA, where the ER will then replicate the RNA. The RNA will be packaged by the Golgi and then released and sent to other cells where it ultimately will disseminate in the lymphatic system. So in this cell right here, you can see that through phagocytosis, the virus is picked up, and for all intensive purposes, we'll pretend that both cells are the same color and they are the exact same cell. So then once the virus is inside the cell, see here, the RNA is then unraveled. It is sent to the ER where it is then replicated. It is picked up by the Golgi, packaged, and then it is sent off to other parts of the body. So once the virus begins to infect other cells and organs in the body, presentations and symptoms begin, and we will talk about what those are. Marburg virus presents symptoms in 3 different phases. The first phase happens after the incubation period, which is 5 to 10 days. The symptoms are very sudden and onset happens very, very quickly. These symptoms include fever, chills, headache, and myalgia. After 5 days of the very beginning of the onset of symptoms, phase 2 will generally begin. This includes a maculopapular rash, vomiting, nausea, chest pain, sore throat, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. Lastly, phase 3 begins, and it is increasingly more severe than the other 2 phases. This includes jaundice, inflammation of the pancreas, weight loss, delirium, shock, liver failure, massive hemorrhaging, and multi-organ dysfunction. It is important to note that Marburg is similar to other infectious diseases such as malaria and typhoid fever, and this can make a clinical diagnosis hard as well as treatment for Marburg virus hard as well. So here are some pictures of the maculopapular rash that is unique to the Marburg virus and other viral infections of the sort. It is a unique symptom, unlike the others, that we kind of know what it is and what it looks like, but the rash is something kind of unique. Here we have the abdominal cavity of somebody showing a bunch of little red splotches, same on the back of this person and the arm of this person. So it shows in little red bumps that appear over the whole body. So the Marburg virus has a pretty severe fatality rate of 23 to 90%. And although it is very rare and there hasn't been that many cases or people infected, it is important to know that it is extremely deadly, and the sooner that it is caught in the infected people, the better. So in the next section of this presentation, I will be talking about the transmission and the natural reservoirs for the Marburg virus. But before that, I wanted to show you this timeline of the different locations and countries of where Marburg outbreaks have happened, how many people were infected, and how many died. So, in this first one, 1967, that was the first known case of Marburg virus, which happened out of Uganda. There were 31 people infected, 7 of them died, and that resulted in a mortality rate of 23%. So, as you can see, there are a lot of different numbers of infected people, ranging from just one person catching the disease to 252. And so now I will begin talking about the natural reservoir of Marburg virus and how that natural reservoir transmits the Marburg virus to humans and how indirect transmission happens as well. So, unfortunately, the natural reservoir of the Marburg virus is the African fruit bat, which is sad to me just because it's so cute and it's sad to be scared of something that is so. So, a very good number out of all the outbreaks have occurred due to tourists of Africa or surrounding areas visiting caves where there are fruit bats living, and the tourists come into contact with bat feces or aerosols. I want to make it clear that we're not talking about this type of bat cave, but another one. So there is the bat to human transmission mode. Then there is also bat to primate to human, which involves the bat infecting a primate or such as a monkey, and then that monkey infecting humans. And that actually happened in the very, very first case of known Marburg virus in 1967. And that was when the African green monkey was shipped from Uganda to Germany and Yugoslavia, where the monkeys then infected and gave Marburg virus to people who came into contact with the monkeys. And transmission can happen from droplets of body fluids, things such as blood, coming into contact from either the primate to the human or human to human after that initial infection with a bat. So here's a picture kind of summarizing up everything that we've talked about. So down here we have the cells and the virus infecting the liver, spleen, lymph nodes, kidney, blood vessels, and how that reacts to different areas. Then up here we have the bat coming into contact with a skin wound of some sort, and we also have the other primates here coming into contact. So it sums up that the bat can infect primates and then humans or directly humans. And then from there, once the human is infected, it can also go on to infect other humans. So here's another picture from WHO. I know that the key down here can be a little bit difficult to read, but it is showing first with this purple dotted line the natural area of where the fruit bat lives and thrives. Then the lighter yellow color seen around here in South Africa and the United States, that is showing reported Marburg imported cases from humans. Then up here it is showing monkeys that have infected from other people from Uganda. So as I discussed in the previous slides, that is the 1967 case of Germany and Yugoslavia where monkeys infected humans. And then lastly, this reddish color is Marburg fever outbreaks, which happen mostly around where the bats are most thriving and living. So as I discussed in the symptoms section of this presentation, Marburg virus has a 23 to 90% fatality rate, which really isn't that great. So I'm sure you're wondering what certain things can be done for people who are infected with Marburg virus. So we are going to move on to the treatment section of this presentation. So unfortunately, there is no specific treatment or vaccine for Marburg virus. There is only supportive therapies. This can include the balancing of fluids and electrolytes in patients, as well as maintaining oxygen status, blood pressure, replacing lost blood, and clotting factors. There have also been experimental treatments in non human primates, but those treatments have never been tried in humans. So, I just wanted to take a moment here and to really appreciate bats. We were talking about how they can spread to us this very deadly disease, but October is Bat Appreciation Month, and they are really, really cool animals, and we shouldn't be completely scared of them and put them off because they are super, super helpful in many different ways. One thing that's cool about them is they are the only mammals that can fly. Flying squirrels only really glide, they don't fly, so that's a cool thing. Bats are also really important pollinators. They pollinate things such as bananas, breadfruit, avocados, dates, figs, peaches, and mangoes. They are also really great gardeners through seed dispersal. And although we talked about fruit bats, the vampire bat has an important human health medical contribution where it helps make a medicine called Draculin, which is very fitting. But the medicine helps stroke patients. So bats are really great for a lot of things, and we're lucky to have them in our ecosystem. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation on the Marburg virus. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned something new. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much again. Good luck on your finals next week. Finally, here I have my works cited slide. All of my information was taken from the CDC and the WHO website, as well as from a YouTube video, which is linked right here. My fun bat facts is from this fourth link here and was not used on any other slides. All images were taken directly from Google Images. And if you would like a more comprehensive slide-by-side work cited page, that is also included separately on a different post.